Well, I am back with you the morning after Christmas. It's a much nicer day today, and I'm finally ready to start framing. I went ahead and tightened all of the anchor bolts in, checked everything for level, set the sill seal to where I got a decent seal underneath everything, and I am finally ready to start framing, which I've been looking forward to for an awful long time. After all of the messy work that demolition has been, and even the stone work, which generally I like, maybe not so much this time around because everything has been kind of a rush. But finally I am back to production. Well, all of the 2x10 framing is in. I put them at 12-inch centers just because I'm going to have a lot of weight on this thing. Not only the building above, but what I plan to store in here. So now I will get down. I've checked it for square. It's perfectly square. All the sides are parallel. I think what I'll do next is to put down one row of plywood and then put in a row of blocking, 2x10 blocking in between. So stick around for that. Oh, it's time to put in a little blocking, and gosh, is that boring. I saved the last piece of blocking just for you. Let's hope I cut it right. That would be pretty embarrassing. It worked. Time for more plywood sheathing. I got so excited I forgot to stop with the glue on some of these. I think I'm ready. Well, just a few nails left and the deck is framed. I think I've got about an hour of light left. I plan to give this 2 coats of epoxy paint since I'll be keeping equipment in here that could be dripping oil and such. So since today is still fairly warm and tomorrow is supposed to be even nicer, I think I'm going to try to get this 1 coat yet this evening and then the other maybe midday tomorrow. Have a great evening if I don't get back to do the painting. I'm back. I was able the other evening to get the first coat of paint on this. I ran out of battery power, so I didn't include it here. And then yesterday I got the second coat on it. And unfortunately, right after I got the second coat on it, we had a tremendous windstorm here. Blew a bunch of leaves onto it, which are stuck down to it. But the way I look at it, this epoxy paint, when it's wet, is extremely slippery. So that is kind of my non-slip finish. I'll broom off everything that's sticking up, but if there's a few leaves and a little bit of grit on it, it's all the better.
I'll drop the phones.
Yeah.
Oh God! Go for it.
Something that I've been working on a little in my spare time, whatever spare time I may have during the bad weather, I've been working on tearing down part of the old spring house. Last week I did a water quality test just for curiosity's sake and found that the water quality within that spring house is actually drinkable water. And that kind of surprised me since there's a lot of leaves and twigs floating around on top of it. The roof had been caved in on the place to where rodents have been able to get in there and such. And I think that what it has taught me is that that is actually quite an asset to this property, is having drinkable water quality. Not that I currently plan to use it for drinking water. I really don't, because there is a public water supply that's run right up onto the property that I'll eventually hook up to for drinking water inside. But I figured if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, by golly, the zombies may get me, but I won't die of thirst here. So we're going to go over and take a look at what I've got over there, and I'll probably continue this episode over a period of several days as I work on it, possibly even a couple of trips. I haven't recorded much of the work that I've done on the spring house, but I am happy to have it closed back in and something weatherproof on the roof, at least for the time being. Next trip down here, I'll cover the sides in Tyvek and then use the same board and batten siding that I'll be using up the hill on the shed and eventually on the back of the house. I do have a new door to make for this, and I'll take care of that the next time that I get back home in Colorado. I'll get that one made. I also have a door to make for the stone part. below the new shed that I'm building. So on the next trip, I hope to be busy with some framing and such, and maybe a little more work here I'll try to record. And then something that I have been thinking about, the order that I want to do things in around here. And I've got a lot of material that I'm already storing in the old cabin. And the more I look at it, the more work that I see to be done on the old cabin. I'll probably strip it down to just the old original logs and increase the roof pitch, build up the chimney a little higher. A lot of work there that's going to cause me to lose my storage of the old cabin. So my next step after I finish up the shed and I finish this will be to build a new barn / shop. And there's an area back here that's kind of flattened out that I'd planned to build a road through here anyway. And that'll probably be my next project for on into next summer and into next fall even. And that'll give me a place to store things, and I'll probably insulate one of the rooms that will eventually be used as a carpenter shop, but for that next year or so that I can probably have that for a warm place to stay and to be able to cook, and just some protection from the weather for me and all the materials and such that I need to store while I work on the cabin. On a side note from a previous episode, I think it was episode 4, where my grandson Dylan and I took down the upper half of this old hackberry tree that was tearing into my roof line. His dad, my oldest son Sean, was here a couple days ago, and he helped us to take down the remainder of that hackberry tree. And something that really amazes me about the growth rates around here is that hackberry tree is less than 35 years old. If I look and measure the growth rings as best I can count them, there are maybe 33 of them that I could see. Kind of hard to tell toward the center pith of the tree, and someday maybe I'll clean that up a little better to where I can count it exactly. But things just grow extremely fast around here. The one thing that we're finding from trying to split the wood is hackberry, when it's a green wood, is pretty stringy like elm and difficult to split. But the one right in front of me here is one that we also took down that was a dead standing one that was about 60 feet tall or so. And that's actually fairly easy splitting wood, and it's wonderful firewood. It lights pretty easy and it burns for a good long time. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Appreciate your watching. Give me the thumbs up or thumbs down below the screen to the left. Leave comments. I love reading your comments. And then also there's the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already, and you can even ring that bell if you want to be notified of future publications. So till we meet again, thank you.